Hello, Guardians. Welcome back to Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Deering, and alongside me, as always, is the Hylian Shield, the master, the fire to my hot air balloon, the rocket to my jetpack, Josh Finney.
Oh my God, Corey, it's been a week. It's been a week. It's been a good week for me at least.
It's been a week.
For me at least, it's been a good week. It's been a week of not a lot of sleep, but it's been a good week, and that's, as you couldn't tell by Corey's intro, Tears of the Kingdom is
Out. We are playing
10 million copies in 48 hours.
Yeah,
that's actually insane. For reference, the third highest selling franchise or entry in the Legend of Zelda franchise is Twilight Princess at 10 million copies. Yeah. Lifetime. That's across the Wii U and the Switch. Wii U, Switch, and
Wii, and GameCube.
Yeah, I'm so used to saying Switch. It's across 3 platforms. Ocarina of Time also across multiple platforms. That's at 14 million, and then Breath of the Wild is 30.7. This is going to eclipse 15 by the end of May easily.
It might eclipse 15 by the end of the week.
I mean, genuinely, because you think about when it released. I have some friends who have kids that are like, 11, 12 years old, and they're like, no, you cannot have this game until we will not buy it for you until school is over. And so when school is out in a couple of weeks, get ready. There's going to be another spike.
Yep, it's gonna be that.
It is the fastest selling Nintendo game ever in North America.
Yeah.
And worldwide, the only game that Nintendo's ever released that has matched it was Pokemon Scarlet and Violet last year.
Yeah, and this game is, we'll say, higher quality in a lot of ways.
It's already like a top 15 selling game on the platform. That's
just...
I mean, first off, that's bonkers for this game, but that's also shows you like just what an insane amount of software attachment rate Nintendo games have.
Yeah, I mean, the Switch has almost like a 10-to-1 attach rate, which is insane.
I know like we have a lot of season of the deep prep info to talk about tonight, but we wanted to talk. Corey and I both wanted to talk Zelda to start tonight off because that's what literally everybody has been playing. The Discord has just been filled with people talking about Tears of the Kingdom. Nerd's been texting me about it. I'm in text chains with a bunch of friends just like sharing Korok crucifixion videos and Gundams.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, man. Like, Stephanie and I have been texting back and forth about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been like, oh, did you see this? So, like, we actually have a similar amount of gameplay time into the game, but we both went in different directions.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, like, she didn't, well, this was like a couple days ago, I guess, but like, she didn't know about like the dragon tears.
Oh my God. Yeah, because she didn't go on the linear path.
Yeah. And I was like, I told her about it, and she was like kind of freaking out about it, and like she told me something about something on one of the Sky Islands that I wasn't aware of, and it was like, man, this game is just so full of stories. And I mean, you and I have been talking before we started recording about stuff that like, you went one way first and I went the other way, and it's like it's just this game.
It's so it's funny. It both holds your hand more than and less than Breath of the Wild. It feels like they tried to give you a more definitive, hey, go here to start everything type of guidance, which I remember kind of fondly from Breath of the Wild. I remember leaving the Great Plateau and pretty much like hauling ass straight to Kakariko Village. Which I was glad that I did eventually, because that, led me to Heterno and everything else. And then after that's when I just fucked off and explored. This one, it throws you into the world, and it's kind of assuming that you played the first one. It's kind of assuming you played Breath of the Wild. But I remember my main gripe being like 4 or 5 hours in, and I'm like, I still don't have the goddamn paraglider. How do I get this? Did I miss something in the tutorial? Like, it's kicking me off of the big sky island and I don't have a glider.
Hmm.
And then,
Yeah,
you
I
finally
thought
get
that
it.
too.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
you you finally get it. And I followed their little directions to go to the Wind Temple, so I hit the first tier pretty much right away. And at that point, I was like, "Oh, I know what I want to do." So I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to the first temple. I'm gonna go to the first temple." And by the way, the Wind Temple, God, just the ascent to the Wind Temple is, without spoiling it, is one of the greatest crafted video game levels I've ever encountered. I can't believe that this is running on a Switch. When I go
I
and
know.
do the ascent to the the Wind Temple specifically, climbing up to it is one of the greatest experiences I've ever had in a game, I think. And I've said
Wow.
that like 4 or 5 times already in this game. Like, goddamn, I've never seen this in a game before.
Yeah, it's I was, let's see, I was doing something and I was just like I was kind of building all this stuff and kind of just exploring, and I was just kind of like, man, I cannot believe how much they shoved into this game, and how, like, the fact that this game is only 16 gigs, right?
Yeah.
Or 17 or something, like it's insane. It's ridiculous.
What I can't get over is they kept an entire third of the game completely secret despite the leaks.
Yeah.
It was like whoever leaked the game just basically, like, there was like this unspoken rule, like, we're not going to spoil that this is in the game.
Yeah.
I would say to anybody who is wondering what I'm talking about, after you do your first temple or whatever, because I don't believe you can get the quest until after that, go back to Lookout Landing and talk with Robbie and Joshua underneath the awning. They will give you a mission to go to one of those gigantic red and black booty holes that you see out there.
Hmm.
And your quest literally is jump in.
Hmm.
Jumping in is one of the most terrifying experiences I've had in a game, because the music changes and becomes all sinister as you're diving in. And it's pitch fucking black down there, my friends.
Yep.
The shit I have found down there in my limited amount of exploring and the quests I did include a brand new power, which is very useful if you are enjoying crafting vehicles and weird contraptions. This is the fucking power for you. There are story beats that are picked up on from Breath of the Wild that I did not think they were going to touch on again. There are chests you can find that contain all of these special armor items from the amiibo. They are scattered throughout the depths, along with you can get weapons that are not corrupted down there, which is very nice. It is just a treasure, and that's where you want to go to mine the Zonite, so you can get more charges for wackier contraptions and be able to
Yeah.
fly further and shit. Like, it's just, this game is so intricate. It's a Zelda game for the Minecraft and TikTok generation. That's the best way I can describe it, because I saw somebody, and God bless them, they had to have been like, I think they were like 18, 19 years old. They were like, I don't understand how anybody is arguing that Breath of the Wild is the better game over this, other than like, it did it first. And I think Nerd made the same argument, like, other than it did it first.
Hmm.
And all I'm going to say is, I think for those of us who are very not creative and are just happy to have four wheels and a plank of wood that works,
Hmm.
Breath of the
Yeah, I mean,
Wild is in some ways the superior game, but I'm having so much fun. It doesn't matter if you're bad at the building.
the thing is that the game, if you don't want to engage in the building all that often, like, they give you all the tools you need in the area where you need to solve a puzzle just to get it done, right? But then they
Yeah.
give you the tools to build, like, these crazy contraptions. Like I was telling you, like, I want to get all the story stuff out of the way so I can go back and, like, just fuck around, like, just kind of go in and, like, do whatever I
So
want and like,
well, we were talking about different paths. I've taken everybody that I've talked to has taken a different. Nobody has taken even remotely the same path, other than like
mhm.
a lot of us went to the Wind Temple first and then just kind of like fucked off. And
Yeah.
I
See, I
urge
didn't go to the Wind Temple first. I went uh because we were trying to figure out because Breath of the Wild is our book club game for my other podcast for the next couple months,
Ooh.
and we were like, we need at least a guiding direction. Uh, and once we found out like what that first kind of major story beat where like the 4 kind of phenomena show up on your map, we were like,
Mm-hmm.
let's head to the northeast and work our way counterclockwise. And so that's kind of like where my brain has been at, because we've been
Yeah.
trying to, because like the last couple book clubs we had Hogwarts Legacy, which is pretty linear, and then Resident Evil 4, which is
This is
obviously
just
very
such a
clearly
different
linear.
beast.
Yeah.
Um, I saw a quote this week that basically it was the producer of the Zelda series, who, I mean, part of the reason these games are so good is because it's been the same staff for like 30 years. They have
Hmm.
very little turnover at Nintendo. They just add to the team.
Yeah.
Like, people retire and like their apprentices come up. Like, that is the team to be on at Nintendo,
Hmm.
is the Zelda team.
Yeah.
And
The
it was a
fact that the fact that these games were like were directed by the Skyward Sword director is incredibly, like, it's almost laughable at this point, right? Like,
I mean, yeah, the producer of the series, his last game directed was Twilight Princess, I believe.
yeah.
Um, but he was responsible for Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess. He largely took over overseeing the franchise from Shigeru Miyamoto after Ocarina of
Hmm.
Time,
Right.
and it's wild to see him talking about this. He goes, so I don't think that we can ever go back after doing Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Like, this is kind of what you can expect from Zelda going forward, which I
Hmm.
think is amazing, but it's also like extremely daunting. I personally I've actually, and I'm not exaggerating this, I genuinely have felt overwhelmed in this world in a way I did not with
Hmm.
Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild, I felt like I was at home. It was a
Yeah.
bigger, more interesting Skyrim to me.
Hmm.
This one, I was like, okay, so there's islands and stuff. And then I fell into a hole for the first time, and I realized there was an entire other map down there. And I
Hmm.
just got completely overwhelmed. I had to get out of there. I put the game down. Saved. I got out of there, put the game down, came back a few hours later because I was just like, I cannot physically handle thinking about there's an entire other game map in this game right now. And
Yeah.
I had just started figuring out that caves are pretty deep dives. You can jump into any well in the game, and it's like a little
Hmm.
mini area that it could be just like a little chest down there or an NPC, or it could be this whole expansive system you have to go through to find shrines and the new
Hmm.
powers and everything. It's so much to take in. And that's without even engaging in the super building aspects.
Right. Yeah.
I'm, I mean, I told you, like, I went off and I hunted the titular Tears of the Kingdom. I went off and
Hmm.
solved that mystery already, way earlier than I
Hmm.
probably was supposed to. Went off and did all
Right.
that, and that led to me jumping on dragons and shit, farming materials there. I did that for an entire afternoon. That was fun. I've done all the towers. I'm just now working my way back to doing shrines because I'm like, oh shit, I've done 3 of these temples, and they definitely would have been easier if I had more hearts. But
Yeah.
to do a certain story beat, especially as early as you do it, you have to have 2 full stamina wheels. So I had to dump 20 shrine blessings into nothing but stamina.
Gross.
And that hurt. That hurt to do that because it's not one of those where like, oh,
Why didn't you just cook
you
anything? Like,
can't,
cook
you
things.
can't. It doesn't count.
It doesn't count.
It
You
does
can't
not
get
count. Nope,
extra.
nope. The game does not allow you.
Hmm. That's
So
new.
there's a door at the very beginning of the game when you're finishing up on the first island where makes you try to open it with 3 hearts and you're not able to. So you have to go get the last shrine blessing and then get another heart container. When you have 4, you're able to open it. There is a beat like that, but with stamina wheels, and you have to have 2 full stamina wheels in order to do
Mm. Mm.
it.
Okay.
And yeah, I watched one too many because I tried to do it the first time with a yellow stamina wheel. Does not count.
Mm.
Must be 2 full green bars.
Gross.
Gross, but one of the absolute. I have said this 4 or 5 different times in this game already. It is one of the coolest fucking things I've seen in a game. And I just got done saying this about my run of Jedi Survivor. Like, god damn, they did so many things I loved in this game. Jedi Survivor enjoyed a very nice 10 days as the best game of the year for me. I don't see how anything. I've probably put about 35 hours into this game so far in the last week. I've done a lot of this game. That's less than I thought I was going to, but I've done a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, I don't see how anything beats this game this year.
No,
I
no,
say
I
that as
don't.
someone who has loved the Diablo beta and will play probably hundreds of hours of Diablo 4 this summer. I say that as
Mhm.
somebody who has never disliked a Bethesda 76 notwithstanding, never disliked a Bethesda game like or rated it below like a 9.5.
Mm-hmm.
I love Spider-Man. I don't everybody's fighting for second place right now. This
Yeah, I
is
feel like the closest game is probably going to be Diablo this year.
yeah,
Probably.
it all depends on I would say it all depends on how polished Starfield is.
Yeah, well,
Um
it's a Bethesda game. I wouldn't really count on
it's
that.
not, but I mean that's a whole nother conversation entirely. Tune in around the E3 time to hear my thoughts on that one. Um it's just
E3.
what not E3. Keeley Miss. That's what we're gonna call it. We're gonna call it
No, it's called Keeley 3.
Keeley 3. Yeah, there we go. K3. Um I have really just like this is one of those games. It's funny. I look at it and I'm like, huh, I don't know if I'm ready to put this in my top 3 yet. The floor for this game, this is how absurdly good this franchise's track record is. The floor for this game is a top 5 game in the series. And it's still getting 10 out of 10s. It is the highest rated, one of the highest rated games of all time on Metacritic with a 96. It is
Mhm.
the highest rated game on OpenCritic of all time with a 99 out of 100 critics recommending it. There was one review from like Gfinity Esports or something that circulated.
Oh yeah, I
They
saw
gave
that.
it like a 6 out of 10. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. I never get mad about reviews. And I was like, just get the fuck out of here. Like, admit that you're not good at the game and score it
Why
higher.
why is an esports like, you know what I mean? Like, why is an esports website reviewing The Legend of Zelda? Are they going to add multiplayer like machine kart racing in this? Oh, that'd be cool though.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, right. The Switch would blow up in your hands if they added
I
multiplayer to
yeah,
this.
that's the only other thing I wanted to kind of address. So I bought a brand new Switch to play this game. I bought the OLED Switch. I wanted better performance. Even playing in docked mode, I've had so many frame rate drops. And I don't think that
Hmm.
it's a deal breaker, but I do think it needs to be addressed. Like not like,
Hmm.
oh my god, I'm gonna go on a crusade with Nintendo. Like it's just yes, you can score it a
It's
10 out of
time.
10, but I think like we need like a little addendum here. Like, hey, there are some and listen, I'm done saying like, well, it's Nintendo, so it's an underpowered console. Like, no, these are the same gripes I had about Breath of the Wild 6 years ago. I was really hoping they would have improved by now.
Yeah, but I also think like, man, I was
The it's a
who
Nintendo
posted
game
who
argument is getting a little stale, and
no
I say that as someone
no
whose like
who
favorite franchise ever is Zelda.
no the I was somebody, I forget if it was Tom Warren or Paul Tassi or something, that said if Tears of the Kingdom isn't the Switch's swan song, it should be, right?
Yeah,
And then there's all that stuff that came out that said, their console's progressing nicely, and uh but it's not coming out until like what, next spring in the earliest, and I'm like, it's
it's
not.
currently projected based on like manufacturing timelines and stuff to be late March, early April.
Yeah, I think that's too soon to be.
I don't. I don't at all. I This game it's pushing the console to its limit. My
Yeah.
girlfriend plays on a launch edition Switch. I bought hers 3 months after launch,
Mhm.
and that thing sounded like it was being cleared for takeoff in handheld mode. I'm not even joking. It sounded like it was taken off. She's even gotten to the point where she's like, "Yeah, I think I need to play this on the TV, not just because of like the handheld performance. The handheld performance is staggeringly good. I do want to
Yeah.
note that. I'm not trying to rip it. It actually performs better than Fire Emblem Three Houses did in a lot of respects, which is sad. Um,
Well, Three Houses was not
uh,
Nintendo developed though, so
you can
yeah,
tell that Monolith worked on this game though, and that's a very good thing. You can tell
yeah,
Monolith handled a lot of the optimization for this game. Because if you never played
yeah,
Xenoblade Chronicles, those games are fucking huge.
yeah. Well, they did a lot of the like the world map building
Yeah,
too.
I think it
So
also helps like that you were able to largely keep the same map intact and just change certain things on it.
Hmm.
So you could have the team focus on building the sky islands and the depths,
Hmm.
but also like building out caves and what do you call it? The wells and things like that. You could build
Hmm.
that shit out. You could build out the temples. I don't know how you sit down and go, all right, we got to make these temples and the puzzles engaging and at least somewhat challenging in a game where you can build fucking Gundams. And I mean, the result is the Wind Temple is one of the most memorable experiences, or at least getting up to the Wind Temple is one of the most memorable experiences I've had in the Zelda game, maybe ever.
Yeah.
Like, not just in this game, but it's like, damn, there's a sequence near Death Mountain that you go through that is just. I would have laughed you out of the room if you told me 3 years ago that this was going to happen. If you
Yeah.
would have told me pre motorcycle that this was going to happen, I would have laughed you out of the room.
Pre-motorcycle. I forgot that the last one
But it's
had
like
that.
you can very clearly see the parts of this where this was intended to be a DLC. You can
Yeah.
very clearly tell the parts that were intended to be that. And I do believe that that the Sky Islands were supposed to be the DLC. I pretty firmly believe that, and at least the first iteration of crafting was supposed to be the last DLC. I've never been so happy to see something get canceled and then resurrected as a full game. They knew what they had. It was fucking gold. Somebody watched too many YouTube videos at the office and said, we should just give them a whole game of doing wacky shit. Like we were up to like 3 months ago and I was still seeing trick shot videos from Breath of the
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
It's nuts. Weapon fusing, once you get the hang of it, is great. I'm finally 35 hours in, I'm finally getting used to it.
Yeah.
I just fuse a bunch of shit before I go into fights.
Yeah. I mean, I've been fusing a lot of stuff too. Also, it really helps when your amiibo grant you things that are like,
Yes.
I have a plus 28 and a plus 35 shield that I'm just kind of hanging on to
I got a plus
right now.
48 shield out of one of mine earlier, and I got a plus 50 bow. Those
Nice.
things are being saved for the end, my friend.
Yeah.
They're being saved until I set foot in Hyrule Castle. But
Yeah.
yeah, all around, I don't know if this is quite cracking my top four. Just my top four is pretty impenetrable for the franchise. At least my top three is.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is like I want to finish the game before I give my
Yeah,
kind of final take and like let it settle, right? Because like I thought about that for Breath of the Wild, and I was like, man, like this has to be recency bias. I love this game. This
I
is
knew
my
it.
favorite game
I
of all.
knew, no joke. I knew within the first 10 hours that Breath of the Wild was an all timer.
Yeah, and I was like, but like,
I did
you
not
know,
have the same
six
feeling here.
months, 6 months go by, the DLC comes out, a year goes by, and I'm like, now it's 6 years, and before this game came out, like I've still thought about Breath of the Wild like all
Yeah,
the time. I'm like, this is number one for me.
the
It's
last
just
Zelda game, the last Zelda game to do that, like captivate me in a way that Breath of the Wild did, was Wind Waker.
yeah.
I mean, I've said it before. Like, my top three is, Breath of the Wild, Wind Waker, and Ocarina of Time in that order. And it's funny because like it's the only franchise where I constantly have a. I was talking to Nerd about this, where whenever there's a new like life altering installment of the franchise, it unseats the
Hmm.
previous one for me. Like Ocarina was the first 3D one. Like for me, that was my first Zelda. That was my first like open world action game. I was 7 when I played Ocarina. Like I never looked back from there. You want to talk about the games that made us fall in love with gaming? Ocarina is at the top of my list. It's Ocarina
Yeah.
and Pokemon Red. Like
Yeah.
Halo may have been what made me go, I want to work in this industry forever. Like I want to do this when I become an adult, but I don't
Hmm.
get there without Zelda. I don't get there without Pokemon.
Yeah.
And Majora's didn't hit me the same way that it did a lot of other people. Wind
Hmm.
Waker was magical. It was like playing a Pixar. It was like a Pixar movie. It was fantastic.
Hmm. The game's still amazing.
It's still
I
still amazing.
why I can't believe the HD versions of those games have not come to Switch yet. Like I'm shocked.
I'm shocked. They're sitting in a vault somewhere, and it's pissing me off.
I know, the same way that Metroid Prime was just
Yeah,
sitting, waiting. You know.
I wouldn't be shocked to see them come out before the end of the year.
See my theory is, And
They're gonna ride the Zelda wave.
I think the next year and a half for this console are going to be full of like smaller games like a Kirby or a Yoshi or something like that, and a bunch of ports. Whatever Wii
Yeah.
U ports are left, maybe we finally get Xenoblade Chronicles X, maybe we finally get the two Zelda games, maybe we get a reworked Star Fox, but it's gonna be ports,
I mean, I'm at the
right?
point where I'm like you said, either Tom Warren or Paul Tassi or somebody said that if this isn't the swan song, it needs to be. I agree. I
Hmm.
mean, Pikmin's not going to be nearly as taxing on the console, obviously, but
Hmm.
this really is like in terms of like an all out experience. I think this kind of has to be it. I think the next console launches with Metroid Prime 4 at
See,
this point.
I'm under the impression that the next console is launching with whatever the Odyssey team is working on.
I think it's both. I think it's both. I think that they realized that Metroid Prime 4 was not going to run as well as they wanted it to on this system. Um,
Yeah, but I mean, I granted remaster whatever, but like Metroid Prime remastered is like it's like a technical wizardry on this console. The fact that it runs that well.
I mean that's fine, but I don't know. I think they really would love for that to be the technical showcase. You have
Yeah,
Mario there to make the sales. You have Metroid there to show the power of the system.
yeah.
Especially if they want something to like, because I don't think they're trying to compete with like the power of like Xbox and
Hmm.
PlayStation anymore. I think they're trying to get on like the entry level Steam Deck level.
Yeah, I mean that would be probably, I would say, a little bit more powerful than that at this point,
Yeah,
but just because the Steam Deck's been out for a while. But
but I mean
I mean,
that's and I like
like it doesn't like I would like a PS4 Pro level power maybe
yeah,
at
you
this
might be
point.
able to do
That's
that.
probably
I feel
reasonable.
like you could do that. Yeah, yeah. I
And
do think
I think
like
they've got enough goodwill from the Switch that they could charge like $400 for it and people would still buy it, right? Like I know they want to keep the price down, but
yeah, I feel like 350 400 is pretty fair in today's day and age to
mhm.
charge, especially if it's going to be something you can still take portable.
Right.
Because
And like
that's the thing is Nintendo can never go back from that.
yeah, if they try to do a home console that like that's the dumbest move I think they've made ever.
I read once and it was like about it was actually pretty recently about like how everybody has an area that they're kind of like locking down that they're like the experts in, and like it was kind of sarcastic. Why do you think that Xbox never entered the handheld market and why PlayStation exited it? It's because Nintendo got in there. They did it right. They chased Sega out of it. They chased Neo Geo out of it. And then they just asserted their dominance repeatedly for like the next 15, 20 years to the point where
Hmm.
now their home console does what they were always the absolute kings at, which is on the go, fun games.
Hmm.
Like Sony is kind of, Sony's starting to nail down, they're trying to nail down VR and, they're really nailing down those
Are they though?
cinematic experiences.
Yeah.
Because I love Nintendo, but like a lot of their games aren't like super deep. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
And
I mean Zelda and maybe Metroid are about as deep as it gets,
and even those, like it really took until I mean, outside of Zelda, it really took until the GameCube for Metroid games to really be like super deep. I would say story
Yeah.
wise, and like
Hmm.
those three games, and then like we just like kind of forgot that Metroid existed.
Hmm.
So like we're gonna get to Destiny. Is my final thoughts on this, just like on Zelda as a whole. I think is like we talk about the franchises that everyone knows in gaming, and it's like it's Mario, it's Zelda, it's Pokemon. You probably at Grand Theft Auto,
Hmm.
Minecraft. I mean, it's a very small exclusive club. Once upon a time, Halo was in that club. The world literally
Yeah.
used to stop for Halo games. Like for anybody who
Yeah.
wants to doubt, like the Halo 1 and 2 had an attachment rate of like 80% on the OG Xbox. That's fucking
Yeah.
wild.
I would s- I would say the last time the world stopped for Halo was when I would I would say Reach, but I would actually say I
It
think a
was
lot of
4.
people were excited for Halo 4 because Halo was coming back, Master Chief was coming back,
Yeah,
right?
for,
And
for
like
all Force faults, I mean, Force still cleared like 14 million copies worldwide.
yeah, I'm a 4 defender.
I'm a
I
four
really liked
defender.
4.
Um, but I mean that's irregardless, it's like there are a few franchises that the world stops for. Zelda has
Hmm.
finally become one of those. It used to be like, oh, just the industry like really stopped for it.
Hmm.
Breath of the Wild changed that, and I think it's because it launched with a console. I mean, I've shared that if that game had not come out with the Switch, I would not have bought a Switch day one.
I bought a Wii U and I still bought the Switch day one for this thing. So
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, it's wild. Like I remember when the Switch came out, the sales of Breath of the Wild on the Switch were greater than the amount of consoles sold.
Hmm.
People were
Yeah, it
getting
had like
it
a
to be
110
ready.
attach rate. Yeah.
Yeah, they were getting it to be ready. I also know, like, I personally know somebody who bought the Master Sword Edition because that was only for the Switch. He
Hmm.
bought that even though he was not going to be able to get a Switch for like another year or so because he really wanted the goodies that came with it. And
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I love my Shake a Slate case. So
Yeah, I still have a case downstairs from that.
yeah, the case, my Master
But
Sword sits out in the living room. It's fantastic. But
yeah.
yeah, I think we'll do maybe one more Zelda check in next week.
Yeah.
Just
I just if you
where
guys are
we want to.
playing, if you guys are playing, don't be afraid to write questions in about Zelda if you really want to, because I'm sure. I mean, this thing is not leaving. I mean, this thing's not leaving my Switch probably for the rest of the year.
Yeah,
To be honest, like so in Breath of the Wild, I did all the shrines and I found all the Korok seeds and I upgraded all the armor and I 100% of the map. So, uh, and I did that gradually over like 6 months, I think. So, um, I will probably do that again with this game. As I, after I finish the main stuff, I'll probably just like lay in bed or whatever for a half hour,
yeah.
an hour at night, and just looking for Koroks or whatever.
Yeah, I gave up somewhere around like 200 Korok seeds, I think. I've already done like 80 of them in this one.
Don't be a quitter, Josh.
I'm gonna be a quitter. I'm absolutely gonna be a quitter. I got too much other shit to get to this year, man. Just like in the next month and a half alone, I've got Diablo and Final Fantasy. So
Yeah, Final Fantasy 16 is going to be another one that's like I can't wait to play that. I hope I hope I hope it's good. I hope it looks like a banger,
it
but
looks like an absolute banger. But Corey, let's shift to some Destiny talk. This is the Tower Casuals after all.
I guess we could probably talk about Destiny since this is a Destiny
I
show.
guess we can talk about it because of this.
Can I ask you a question?
You can ask
Like
me anything.
when was the last time you actually sat down and like actually like played Destiny? Not just like to check in and do a bounty or do, a couple strikes or whatever, but like actually sat down and played
Last week
Destiny.
actually, leading up to Zelda.
Oh, okay.
I was finishing up some of the seal requirements with Ronnie and Aaron. We were
Okay.
doing the Legend Battlegrounds and doing some Excalibur runs to finish up the requirements for the seal. Did that with
Okay.
some Guardian game stuff. Got my champ title,
Nice.
so had to do it. But yeah, no, we had to take a break from Zelda, or I had to take a break from Zelda on both Friday and Sunday to finish the Battlegrounds. And I remember them teasing me. They were like, "So are you just like logging in to do this, then going straight back?" Like, yep. I'm headed straight back to Zelda. I crammed that seal in at like the 11th hour to make sure that this whole next week I was doing nothing but Zelda. Um, we got
I mean, that's smart, I guess.
weapon changes blog
Weapon changes.
yesterday. It's very largely exotic focused, but there are some other like pretty key changes that we're going to talk about. Um, that happened here. Corey, I found what you were talking about beforehand. Corey's like, I could have sworn we talked about this a couple weeks ago when I had this sit out. That was that was mainly PvP changes that you guys talked about.
No, this wasn't a couple weeks ago. This was probably a couple months ago.
Oh well,
This
then
was like
that was
partway through the
that
season.
was yeah that was for the season 21 or for the season 20 patch. Then this is all brand new. It's
Yeah.
all brand new.
I don't know. I feel like we talk about weapon changes are coming all the time, and
We
then
do
just
because it's a live service FPS. Um, So hipfire reticles and field of view have been changed. Rebuilt reticles for the following weapon types so they move more visibly at high field of view while still conveying current state of the weapon accurately. That's fusion rifles, hand cannon, sidearms, and trace rifles. plan to update other weapon reticles in a similar way in a future release. Shotgun reticles also now scale with FOV, such as that the reticle will closely match the pellet spread regardless of your selected FOV. And note that as of Lightfall, they dynamically scale with shotgun pellet spread angle changes. So basically, just helping a little bit so that you can see more accurately where your shit's hitting. I know that I've seen things before like, wait, that doesn't make sense. And, well, now it makes a little bit more sense. Charge meters. Fusion rifle charge and sword guard energy are critical aspects of these weapons, which until now required relying on cues built into the weapon's visuals or audio. We have updated their hipfire reticles to include this information as well. Fusion rifles will have a charge meter under the reticle, and sword reticles now show current sword guard energy. So swords are going to function like glaives, and fusion rifles, well, you don't have to have a hope and a prayer that it's ready to go. Experimental aim down sights reticle. They're going to try this out on Shayura's.
Hmm.
Yeah, now has an aim down sights reticle that reacts to the weapon's accuracy and auto aim state and ties into red reticle, meaning this will change color when an enemy that's within this weapon's engagement range is under the reticle. I actually really like this, and I want to see how this plays out. I think that this is definitely a change that will help in PvP, especially. So I'm curious to see, because I think that SMGs are the type of weapon that's going to benefit the most from this by far.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there's custom exotic weapon reticles that are going to get them. Charge meter added to exotic weapons whose base weapon type doesn't typically have charge meter. Devil's Ruin, Salvation's Grip, and Grand Overture. Perk counter shows pips for perked shots such as Quicksilver Storm, Ace of Spades, Lumina, and Traveler's Chosen. Progress meter shows perk buildup for Manticore, and then perk active when exotic perk is active for Hawkmoon, Aegers, Teraba, Touch of Malice, Chrysesia, Trinity Ghoul, and Vex Mythoclast. So just a lot of quality of life changes there that are going to alert you to alternate firing modes. I can't tell you how many times I've accidentally forgotten that I have a charge shot for Vex. So I'm very happy to hear that. Weapon inspecting, you can now turn them around 360, this and armor pieces, like you were able to Sparrows for years and years. Sparrows and Ghost Shells. So I'm glad that it finally got added here. This is a little baffling that we're in like year 7 of the game and it took us this long to get it. But yeah.
Yeah. That's yep.
So this change applies to your inventory and also when inspecting ornaments in the Eververse store. They have these tech improvements have had compounding benefits, enabling us to also allow you to rotate ships and preview their contrails. We've also removed depth of field blur from our weapon, ship, and armor preview screens to allow you to see all the angles of your gear better. Good, because I'm getting really tired of only being able to see like half of my gauntlet.
Yeah, this I feel like this change is like really late. I feel like this I don't know. I guess I never really thought about it, but now that they're bringing it up, I'm like this should have been here for a while, I
Also, like
guess,
while
you
we're
know?
talking about like armor inspection, like can we get it so like where you hold both gauntlets up, because sometimes they're radically different looks.
Yeah, it's true.
Or like on the default one, it's like the shitty side, and you're not seeing the cool side. Like let me see both of them. Just put the fists up, man. Put them up. Put them up. Let's go. Full auto
Put them up.
melee is a thing. I know John in particular is really excited about this one. Um,
That's a weird one, right? I mean, I know it's probably like an
it's an
accessibility thing
accessibility thing, yeah.
as much as just I mean, look, full auto weapons, I'm like, yeah, let's go. All my weapons full auto. But like
Well, so it is worth
melee,
noting that full auto melee does not just include hitting with your fists. Fist, charged melee, sword, glaive, or roaming super melee by holding down the appropriate input. This is definitely like a carpal tunnel accessibility thing. John in particular was saying that he's like, yeah, it makes it really like annoying to use a glaive or a sword because I'm old and I have issues with carpal tunnel. So mashing the same button repeatedly to do melee attacks really sucks. So I know he's excited about this one. I personally probably will not be turning this on. I still play on a controller, so it doesn't bother me. I'm pulling a trigger as opposed to like mashing keys on a keyboard.
right?
Um, and then we've got weapon archetype
PC
changes.
players.
PC players,
Yeah.
man. Even though I know John largely plays on controller. Um, weapon
Still.
archetypes. Bows. There's a specific change being made to Tyranny of Heaven, which is the last wish bow. Tyranid Heaven's stats were always weirdly low, and we were touching these weapon anyways, so we opted to update its stats while we were in there. This is a very interesting phrase because this kind of indirectly confirms that Last Wish is getting a weapon refresh, that its weapons are going to be updated, and it sounds like it's going to be as early as next Tuesday. Um, I don't know if it's necessarily the raid I would have picked to get updated weapons. I mean, because I guess Vault still works. I guess Vault is still fine in terms of its perk pool for the most part. It kind of had to be this or Garden, and both of them are just super underwhelming loot pools. They were underwhelming when they came out. They're underwhelming now. There's no reason to go chase them. But the exciting part is this probably means that they're going to be craftable too.
Yeah,
Um, kudos
that's the
to
big thing, right?
yeah, kudos to everyone who wants to go run Last Wish. I know this got John re-energized to go do some runs. Personally, I this is not going to move the needle on it for me. I think it's a really cool looking set of weapons, but I just, as I said to him yesterday when we were talking about this specific nugget, I'm playing less Destiny right now than I have in the last like 5 years. Like this is the least I've probably played over the last 6 months since before Shadowkeep came out. Like probably since like mid Forsaken. This is the least I've played, but I'm enjoying the game more. I'm not feeling like I'm like killing myself to finish things. I'm still like very comfortably
Mhm.
finishing my season pass and all the story content and whatnot. But it's about it's about time division. You look at these massive games like I'm trying to enjoy Jedi Survivor, and I went straight into Zelda. I'm going to go straight into Diablo and Final Fantasy, like
Yeah, these are like, I mean, 40 to 100-hour games in
easily.
Diablo. Like Diablo's even more, right? I mean, like
They have estimated that
that's
to finish the Diablo season pass in season one with the game launch is probably going to take around 120 to 150 hours.
that's a
That's a lot.
that's a lot.
That's a lot. So I'll be grinding out Diablo for sure. And then, August is another one that I'm really scared of. There's another Destiny season coming out with the reprised raid, but that is Armored Core, Baldur's Gate, a Destiny season, and Starfield all coming out in a 12-day span.
Yeah.
To say nothing of when Spider-Man is coming out in September or October, whatever they decide to launch that. So it's a very terrifying time for my wallet and for my free time. Something's got to give, and unfortunately, it's going to be the game that is ongoing.
Yeah.
Destiny's going to kind of get the brunt of that a little bit. Like it's the beginning of a new season, so like I'm going to get in and do the story stuff. But like as far as like grinding, like that's going to have to wait a few weeks. This
Mhm.
this time around, it's like okay, I wanted to get as much Zelda in as I could before Tuesday because we've got a dungeon dropping next Friday as well. Like I want to be able to do the dungeon and like thank God I don't have to like level up. I don't have to power up for it or anything. But
Right.
nonetheless, it's still one of those that you're like, oh, what the fuck, man. I don't have time for reprised raids, is what I'm getting at. I enjoy raiding, but this is the least I've done a new raid in its launch season in 3 years. Like
Mhm.
since Deepstone Crypt, this is like this and Kingsfall. I didn't do too many runs of Kingsfall. I haven't done too many runs of that. I've done like 4 or 5 runs of each, I think. I want to do more Root of Nightmares. It's just I simply have not had the time lately.
Yeah,
Um,
plus like I mean, I've run it twice right now. It's not like I mean, it's a good raid. It's not the best raid either, right? It's
It's a
not like
great one to get in if you want to raid and you want to bang something out in like 45 minutes. That's the raid.
yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying though. But it's not like I'm not compelled to quit other games to go do a run of Root of Nightmares, right? Like I don't know. Like the loot isn't amazing,
Oh,
like I'm not
hard disagree.
mm,
Hard disagree there. Loot's
mm,
fucking phenomenal. Rufus's
mm.
and the trace rifle alone are worth doing full runs. The
Okay,
sidearm,
yeah,
the
but
sidearm is outstanding. The shotgun is great. Oh man, I could not disagree more.
I mean that's fair.
Corey only gets grenade launchers from here on out. That's all. That's all we're giving him, Bungie.
No, I think I'm just sour because Fox promised me an exotic and I didn't get it. So,
Well, Fox makes a lot of promises he can't keep.
mm,
Moving on with some of these archetype changes, we got SMGs. Aggressive SMGs have surged in PvP and they need to be brought back into ban. We're doing that in a way that keeps them viable by reducing both base and crit damage a little, requiring higher precision to reach their optimal time to kill. Base damage reduced from 15 to 14. And it is literally because of Immortal. The Immortal is such a stat monster that no other aggressive SMG can compete. We brought its range in while allowing it to continue to excel in other areas, reduced base range value by 10. Yeah, just Season of the Immortal in PvP. It's made PvP between that and Le Monarch really non enjoyable this season, especially because you can run both. Sniper rifles. Snipers are a very safe option, and we don't want to make them dominant, but there's some room to bring their damage up to improve their feel in PvE. Rapid fire sniper rifles also got a large reserves bump and reduced recoil in the Season 20 mid-season balance. We'll keep an eye on this and may bring them up a little more in the future. Increased PvE damage on snipers by 10%. Izanagi's Burden Honed Edge perk shots do not receive this buff. All other exotic sniper rifles receive the buff as written. So if you ever felt like you wanted to go run Darcy, there you go. Scout rifles. Long arm was inadvertently receiving the damage bonus versus minions versus miners for exotics. So we've addressed that. It still receives the scout rifle PvE damage bump from Season 20. And then here's the meat of it. We've got a lot of changes coming to exotic weapons. A lot of very specific ones. I'm going to fly through and like kind of give some highlights here. I don't know if we're going to necessarily go through all of these. For all 5 of us who use Eyes of Tomorrow, the multi-target and missile volley and adaptive ordnance exotic traits suggest it should be used to kill groups of enemies, but the rocket launcher ammo economy doesn't allow for that. What if smart use of the weapon against groups refunded ammo? Killing 4 targets with a missile volley will refund 1 ammo. I'm actually really excited to use this for ad clear the next time we get a solar-based season. This could be a lot of... I think this could be kind of spicy. This could be a little fun. I'm not going to go run it in something like a GM, but I could very easily see myself running this in like Battlegrounds or something.
Yeah, it's yeah, I could totally see that.
Graviton Lance's performance feels exotic, but it was easy to miss out on the full damage of a burst because so much of it was backloaded, and we felt the tuning of Revision Zero's heavy rounds 2 burst would be a good fit. Increased RPM from 257 to 300. Rebalanced damage per shot. Increased first shot damage on a body shot from 9.5 to 19. Crit shot 15.7 to 31.4. And then decreased second shot damage from 35.6 to 25.6. And 58.7 to 42.3. Cool. I think Graviton Lance is really fun, but I've kind of struggled to find a place for it in my build as of late. I think with some of the updates to the subclasses, like it's been really, really viable. It's just I've been having more fun with other void weapons is all.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Jade Rabbit, strong PvP scout rifle, but was difficult to keep track of the state of the exotic perk, and refunding a single ammo just wasn't impressive enough for an exotic. These changes make the state clearer and provide more reward for precision. Added buff text to show when Fate of All Fools increased body shot damage is active. Quickly hitting 3 crits now refunds 3 shots instead of 1. Okay, so this is going to continue terrorizing PvP. This is my go-to in momentum control, so I'm not sure like that this is going to do anything for me, but still interested to see how that goes. There's some updates to Mana Core. I don't know anybody who uses this weapon. It's there if you want it. Luminous.
Every time I hear this weapon or see this weapon, I think of the Disney the Pixar movie Onward. For some reason,
I do not remember a single thing from that movie. I'm going to be real.
Wow, it's one of the characters is the Manticore, which is kind of funny. That's all.
Luminous cap on noble rounds was 5. While working on exotic weapon reticles, we opted to match Ace of Spades' Memento Mori shot count to improve consistency. Increase noble rounds cap from 5 to 6. Cool. Heart Shadow wasn't hitting the fantasy we wanted to, so we made it easier to exploit the exotic perks. Damage increase now activates quicker when invisible after 0.25 seconds instead of 1 second. Heart Shadow now weakens upon dealing any damage while the damage increase is active. There's some stuff about Worldline Zero. You can read that. Sweet Business. Here's the best one. Sweet Business's performance is a lot of fun. We felt we could really plus its fun factor and strength by adding some explosions. Now fires explosive rounds every 20 shots. Fewer shots while fully spun up. It's about to be a whole season of Titans with Actium War Rig running around with Sweet Business in PvP. Can't wait. Can't wait to not touch Crucible the entire summer. Legend of Acreus hits hard, extremely hard already, dealing some of the highest damage per shot in the game, but its ammo reserves run out fairly quickly and to be right on top of enemies to use it. We've relaxed both of those constraints. Increased total ammo from 12 to 16, increased maximum projectile distance from 9 meters to 12 meters. Little interested to see these changes. I like having 4 extra shots. I just don't really know where you use this in today's day and age. It's not
Right.
really drop. I mean, you could probably do it to Nezarec, honestly. Drop a well and just party. Um, you might be able to do it with Atheon. I don't know if you can get close enough to Atheon for it to be viable. Trying to think of who else you could do it with. You do the Riven cheese, you might be able to do it with Riven. If you run up and shoot the claws. A couple dungeon bosses. Keitel, the duality dungeon would actually be a really good place to go try this, I think. So this could be fun. This could be fun with the right build.
Mm.
Tommy's matchbook is all about burning yourself, so we've updated it to let you burn others as well. The catalyst has gotten an update. While overheated, sustained fire scorches your target. Every 5 shots applies 14 plus 7 with Amber of Ashes fragment. Scorch stacks. No Time to Explain's drone would not work against barrier champion shields when it had anti-barrier effects, so we fixed that. We also made the drone work with the Feeding Frenzy perk. Updated drone to work with anti-barrier will break barrier champion shields and over-penetrate combat shields. Updated drone to
Great.
work with the Feeding Frenzy catalyst, and also resolved an issue where the feedback for Feeding Frenzy would always play when the player spawned and then never again. Some of these
Great.
changes are fucking wild that we're getting into. Skyburner's Oath Solar 3.0 pass turned out to be too conservative, so we brought it up to be more competitive with
Too
other scorching
conservative.
options. Increased scorch stacks from 3 to 5 and 5 to 10 with Ember of Ashes equipped. Salvation's grip performance and utility is entertaining and situationally useful, but as a heavy weapon, it really needs to do some damage without compromising its identity. We've rebuilt its functionality using bowling as an inspiration. Reworked to have 2 firing modes. Charged shot creates a pattern of stasis crystals, and uncharged shot is a normal grenade launcher shot, which does more damage to stasis crystals and frozen targets. Added a new perk that reloads the magazine from reserves when you quickly shatter at least 3 crystals with the uncharged shot. That could be really fun. I know John is excited to go play around with this, and that sounds about right with the Behemoth build that he had. I'm a little interested to play around with this with Hunter Stasis, considering we have the throwing stars. Um, kind of want to see how that's going to go, but I still think that that's a very like wacky outlier weapon. Um, Bad Juju fixed an issue that was causing the weapon to recoil like an auto rifle. Recoil pattern will not be similar to post rifles. Fighting Lion's damage against red bars spiked to massive levels due to a recent bug. We've addressed this, but note that it still receives the 40% damage bonus for exotic primary weapons. Uh, and then the Winter Bite exploitable damage bug will be fixed. And Thunderlord. Thunderlord has surged in popularity with the release of its Catalyst and Season 20 machine gun buff, but it shipped with a bug that allowed lightning strikes at a higher frequency than intended against divinity bubbles. We've addressed that. Note that regular crits are not affected by the change. So I don't think this is too big of a change. I don't think this is too massive, but getting those extra lightning strikes was pretty damn helpful. We know that this was the strat for day one Nez. Obviously, it's not going to be as good anymore, but it's still going to be strong. It's still going to be pretty good. And then we got two last sections to go, 2 small sections, perks and the future. So perks. Fragile Focus is fairly potent, but the perk deactivator was very unforgiving. Bonus from Fragile Focus now lasts until shield pop returns when shield regenerates to 100%. So Fragile Focus is now a good perk. Thresh, Demolitionist, and Pugilist have always granted increased energy on shotgun, fusion, and sniper kills, but Glaive's missed out on that bonus until now. Grants increased energy to glaive projectile kills. Very excited. I run Thresh on my Glaives. This is just music to my ears. I love it. Reconstruction has been simplified under the hood so we can place the perk on more weapons without exceeding perk budgets. This results in a slight change to the timing of the perk where the initial timer and the cooldown timer between reloads have been unified, 4 seconds and 3.5 for enhanced. And then Shoot to Loot has now been upgraded to pick up Orbs of Power, which is very interesting. Very interesting. Currently, it only works on direct hits. The ability for orbs to be picked up with weapon detonations will be added in a future patch. I don't really use shoot to loot, but I do agree that there is a place for the perk. Being able to pick up things besides just ammo boxes makes sense. It just
Mhm.
makes sense.
Yeah,
And then when we're talking about the future,
the future.
there's two things here. There's two things here that we're going to go into. They're talking about redesigning how Zoom interacts with damage fall off. That's like really deep shit. You guys can come read this. I'm sure we're going to be talking about this one in the Discord when it comes up. There's a big sword update coming with the goal of making guarding substantially more valuable. Good, because it's not very valuable right now. Glaives are way better at shielding. In the more distant future, when they say distant future, I expect this to be like the last season of the year, maybe.
Mhm.
Like I think swords will be next season, not season of the deep, but the season after. I think this final change, the update to sparrows, I think is going to be the last season of the year. We're working on an update to sparrows that will allow players to use their favorites instead of always on time without touching always on time itself. Because that's been a big complaint is that you have to have that on because it has, it's the fastest sparrow in the game. You have to have
Yep.
that for these sparrow parts.
Hmm.
I mean, I've personally fared okay, but I can see where it would be helpful. Whew. So that's all the season 21 changes. I'm still a little under the weather, so that was a lot. Um,
Don't worry, Josh. We only got one more full blog post to read.
Only one more full blog post. We really don't have too much here. TLDR of season 1, 21 changes. You guys can go read that on your own. Among the things that are coming are economy updates, sandbox tuning, which we literally just read that whole blog. Abilities tuning, which we talked about last week. Um, or 2 weeks ago, excuse me. That was published on May 3rd. I was not here for that episode, but Corey, Fox, and Ronnie talked about that. Exotic
Sure
armor,
did.
exotic armor tuning. I believe I talked about that the week before, and then
Yep.
quality of life improvements, including new Vanguard bounties, Matterweave and Rainmaker consumables, Good Boy Protocol, and Triumphs that will now boost exotic drop rates in various activities are there, and then a whole big blog about Crucible updates was also out there. That was also read about. So cool. We're good on that. The new strand aspect. We got new strand aspects though. This is one of the two big things here. We got new strand aspects. So we
Yeah.
finally got to see them. The Hunter, Threaded Spectre. This looks dope as fuck. I think
Yeah.
this looks amazing. Activate their class ability to leave behind a decoy woven from strand matter that draws the attention of nearby combatants. After taking
Hmm.
significant damage or when combatants approach, the decoy detonates, dealing damage and releasing threadlings that seek out and attack nearby foes. This
This
looks
sounds so cool.
this looks
I
so
mean,
fucking cool. I
yeah,
I've
we talked about it a little bit the week that you weren't here,
Yeah.
and like this is definitely the best of the three new aspects by
I
far.
I don't like using dive abilities on my hunter. I've made that really clear. I will immediately be equipping this. This is awesome.
This is so
I
cool,
love
dude.
this. I absolutely love this. Titan, Fletchet Storm. While sliding, activate your charged melee ability to leap into the air, knocking nearby targets away and dealing damage. While airborne, activate your charged melee again to launch a cluster of damaging, unraveling projectiles. Repeatedly activating melee will chain additional throws. This, in the little clip, looks fucking cool.
Hmm.
I love
It's
this.
it's it's. I mean,
I love
here's the
this.
thing. Here's the thing. As a Titan, all I want is another super where I'm super uncontrollable and just slam things.
I mean, this isn't a super, though. This is a melee ability. This is great.
Whatever.
This is great. It's fun.
Hmm.
Oh my god. Oh,
Well, we
okay,
will we will
Scrooge.
we'll test it out and I'll let you know, and then you can Scrooge me. Then I'm gonna swim in
Scrooge.
my big, not money pile, my tears of sadness.
And then Warlock is getting the Wanderer. Tangles you throw attached to enemies and detonate into a suspending burst. Threadling final blows create a tangle. I think of all the abilities, it's cool, but yeah, I'm like the least jazzed about this one. It's like this feels like something that should have been built into Tangles from the beginning. I don't
Yeah,
know.
probably.
I don't know.
Most Yeah, I kind of agree with you, to be honest.
It's fine. It's the most underwhelming of the three, though. I think, like far and away.
Yeah.
Titan's got something cool. Hunter's got something cool. Warlock's got something that should just be built into Tangles for everybody. Um, our last big
What you get
thing.
for being a warlock?
We have a couple big things left here in the blog. God, I actually forgot how long the TWAB is this week. We have the new artifact coming. Gonna fly through these real quickly. Of course, our anti-champion mods for this next season are gonna be anti-barrier auto rifle, unstoppable hand cannon, overload scout, overload trace, unstoppable glaive. Glaives again! I'm so excited. I love glaives. I
Glaives.
love glaives. Little less jazzed about anti-barrier auto. I'm not gonna lie. I think that's really aggravating. Um, but I'll take that over overload. Overload trace is gonna be awesome. Cold Heart is gonna be such a good choice this next season.
Yeah, I think it's time to whip. I'm trying to whip that out.
Cold Heart's gonna be really good. And oh god, what's the other one? There's a legendary arc one, and I'm completely blanking on the name right now. I'm sure John's gonna listen to this and remind me of what it is.
He's screaming at you right
He
now.
literally is. Um, our authorized mods are going to be Arc, Void, Strand, and Melee, along with Technicolor Siphon. Grants access to helmet armor mods that combine the effects of Strand and Arc Siphon. So pretty excited for those. I like that they're still going to have a little bit of Void. That's very fun. Column 3, your improved unraveling increases the amount of damage dealt by unraveling a target. Deeper Origins greatly improves the benefits provided by Unstated Hunger, Nanotech, Tracer Rockets, Harmonic Resonance, and Noble Deeds traits. Unto the Breach, defeating a Void debuff target creates a Void Breach while your Void subclass is equipped. Very excited. Electric Armor stayed amplified longer while your Arc subclass is equipped. Thunderous Retort grants bonus Arc super damage if cast while critically wounded or while amplified. Lasts until the end of the super activation. Those two, Electric Armor and Thunderous Retort, are going to be absolutely essential for any Arc build next season.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Yeah,
absolutely
definitely.
you're picking those, and you're picking Arc Siphon. Hands down,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna equip those three. Strand Soldier. Your Strand weapons gain unraveling rounds when you gain Woven Mail while your Strand subclass is equipped. Overcharged Armory, the same perks we talked about above. Unstated Hunger, Nanotech, Harmonic Resonance, and Noble Deeds are always overcharged weapons for you when that modifier is active. Protective Breach. Picking up a Void Breach gives you an Overshield or refreshes your existing Overshield. Countercharge. Here we go. Gain a stack of armor charge when you stun champions. And amped up.
Yeah.
Gain damage resistance while amplified. Uh, Again, very excited. This is the hold movement key class. And then the final one, Conductive Cosmetic Needle. Targets affected by strand debuffs take increased damage from Arc and Void abilities. Shock and Awe. Arc final blows while you're amplified. Summon a burst of lightning that damages and jolts targets. I will absolutely be running this with Ikelos SMG. Supernova. Picking up a Void Breach causes your next source of Void damage to create a large weakening pulse. I'm really excited for this one. Squad
Yeah, it seems.
goals. Squad goals. Performing a finisher while you are amplified grants amplified to nearby allies while your Arc class is equipped. Performing a finisher while you have Woven Mail grants Woven Mail to nearby allies when Strand is equipped. Performing a finisher when you have Devour grants Devour to nearby allies when your Void subclass is equipped. Very excited to see some of the Fire Team combos that we see for this dungeon coming out of this perk alone.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see.
And then Lightning Strikes twice. After throwing an Arc Grenade, gain increased grenade recharge for a short time. Arc Final Blows extended duration to this benefit. You know how we got that nerf to Storm Grenades? I don't know if it was going to be enough with this perk coming into play.
Yeah.
I think these are some fun ones. Nothing really like, aside from squad goals, nothing is squad goals and countercharge are very exciting for me. Nothing is instantly like, oh my god, this is like Bricks from Beyond 2.0, or like I forget what the exact perk was, but like if you broke void shields with volatile rounds, or like you had inherently volatile and you broke void shields, you created orbs every time you broke a shield with void weapons. That's why I was doing like 160 orbs per battleground earlier this season. Nothing that immediately catches my eyes like that. I think they knew they couldn't give us another perk like that, but still very excited to run around with my beloved Ikelos SMG and Thunderlord. I think that this is going to be a really fun season to use a lot of those weapons that either grant you, lightning, or that grants you Volt Shot. Gonna bust out my Brigand's Law again, my sidearm that I liked so much, and see where it goes. I don't know how much I'm gonna be able to do. I'm gonna have to get an Arc Glaive. I'm gonna have to start running Arc Glaives. Nezrak's Whisper is gonna have to come out of the vault.
Do it.
And
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Updates to enemy elemental shields. We're changing how enemy shields look. Over the past few years, we've introduced numerous changes to the core game experiences. We've overhauled internal systems, as well as endeavored to make the game more accessible to our audience. This touches on both of those topics. So it's a visual only change. It's not changing the actual gameplay. I actually really like the change to shields. It looks like they have like this aura around them instead of this big fucking Campbell's soup can. Given the majority of these shields have been in service since 2017, the number of bespoke combatant shields has become more difficult to maintain as we've significantly expanded the number of enemy combatants in the game. To address this challenge, we've made a large back-end shift to a new shield system that will be easier to maintain and improve upon, which brings us to our next point, accessibility. We took the opportunity to create visuals that are more accessible for colorblind players and players with other visual impairments. We've minimized visual information that is not relevant to gameplay in favor of bringing up the foreground more combat-relevant details. Cool. That's fine. Like, cool. We'd like to note that immunity shields, white shields, and shields for specific boss encounters will not be receiving this update due to their slightly more complicated nature. We avoided making any broad changes which could unintentionally impact encounter mechanics, designs, etc. Cool. Fantastic. And a note from the engineering team on stabilization. Oh boy. I've been wanting to talk about this because the game's crashed a lot this season.
Oh boy, has
It's been pulled offline for emergency maintenance more this season than I think I've seen in almost 10 years of the franchise.
Yeah, I mean, why? I mean, why now though?
Well, we're going to read about it right here. As part of the
Great.
work to prepare for Lightfall, we embarked on a large technical upgrade to improve our Destiny 2 services and hardware. This work included updating our services to use new technology as well as preparing for hardware upgrades. In the long run, this investment in the back end of Destiny 2 should lead to a more stable and reliable experience for all players and faster recovery in instances where service downtime does occur. The launch of Lightfall was a great example. This was high stability and uptime for both launch day and the Root of Nightmares World First Raise. However, as millions of players have interacted with these services, we have discovered some issues that we are working on addressing. A prime example of this is our background service update system. Typically, several days before one of our Tuesday updates, we will stage the update on our servers. This upgrades our back-end services to the new version and means that during the Tuesday patch, we will only take a brief amount of downtime before letting players back into the game. However, with new libraries and code, we discovered cases where the back-end update has put our services into a bad state, forcing us to bring Destiny 2 offline for extended maintenance. So what are we doing about this? We have a team focused on making corrections to new services so we can safely perform background updates again. However, while we do that work, we want to make sure your Destiny 2 experience is as predictable as possible. Therefore, starting with Season of the Deep's launch, update 7.1.0, we are moving to a scheduled downtime model where we bring Destiny 2 offline for 1.5 hours on our update days. This allows us to do our staging and rollout on the same day and should make the experience more stable and reliable. In the meantime, we will continue to monitor performance, upgrade our hardware, increase service reliability, and work to give you a great experience each and every time you play the game. So yeah, fucking around on the back end. We've thrown this phrase around, spaghetti code. It doesn't really mean anything, but just things are very jumbled back there. They're trying to, make this run across hardware that was developed in, like 2011 versus hardware that is new. They're trying to go all the way from like base Xbox One to 4090s. So I can imagine how that might stretch your game a little thin.
God, just cut off the old systems at this point. Come on. I mean, I know they're not going to after the final.
If you didn't do it for Lightfall, you're not going to do it now. That's just my 2 cents. I think Lightfall was kind of a good chance to do it. But yeah, nothing we can really say on that. We don't work on servers, so cool. I'll take you for your word, Bungie. Guardian games are coming to an
I know
end.
people who work on servers. If you not gaming servers, but Anyways, continue. Sorry.
Anyways, um, there's a new thing introducing Asians at Bungie. May is Asian American and Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Proud to introduce Asians at Bungie. Began at the end of 2021 in response to the rising discrimination and violence against Asian communities. Their mission is to uplift their fellow employees, provide Bungie diverse insight of Asian American and Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander culture, and to support local communities. After many rounds of discussing creative directors, revising changes, and generous support from internal inclusion, diversity, and equality, and equity, and consumer products teams, they're ready to debut the Stand with Asians pin and accompanying harmonic waves emblem. It's a beautiful pin and emblem. I love that emblem.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Very
I
cool.
sent it. I sent it to Stephanie because
Mm-hmm.
she's half Chinese, and I sent it to her, and she thought it was like one of the coolest things she'd ever seen, and she doesn't even care about Destiny at all.
It's very cool. I mean, they're always doing something like this. I really like it. For the month of May, all proceeds from Stand with Asians pin will go to the International Community Health Services, a nonprofit healthcare organization based in Seattle that welcomes people of all backgrounds in need of care. Celebrating its 50th anniversary, ICHS was formed in 1973 by young Asian American activists to disrupt the systemic racism that denied health to Asian immigrant communities. Today, ICHS remains deeply rooted in the Asian Pacific Islander community and continues to serve immigrant and refugee patients in over 70 languages. They have been a leading voice in challenging anti Asian hate and championing health equity for communities of color. So very excited for that. That's very cool. Orders will open for that pin on May 23rd. And the emblem will be available without a pin purchase starting May 23rd directly through the Bungie Foundation for $10. All donations received to the Bungie Foundation in May will support ICHS. A new emblem for gifting Twitch subs. Cool. That I guess that's a cool emblem. Whatever. Um, yeah.
Cool emblems, everybody.
Cool emblems, everyone. As we approach the end of season
Are
of
we before we move on?
yes.
Not that I don't appreciate a good emblem, but are we tired of emblems? Like, are we tired of emblems? Kind of.
I mean, I got to the point years ago where I can't possibly show off all the emblems that I like that I have, but I don't think I'm tired of it. I still think it's a cool way to like, hey, this is like a little thing acknowledging something. Um, you can't make a ship or a sparrow for everything.
Yeah.
So I think emblems are probably the most cost effective way to like recognize something in the game, and I think it's the coolest way to have like some dramatic flair on your profile because somebody hovers over your name. That's the first thing they see.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
still like it. I like the idea of there being like, oh, I had to be at this specific place at this specific time to get this.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know.
That's
I would like
nice.
for them to like do animated emblems in the future. Maybe by the time we get Destiny 3, they'll. I know I'm giving them ideas here. It's not something that
Free
hasn't.
ideas.
It's not something that hasn't floated around Destiny Twitter for years. Animated emblems could be really cool. I think that's like the next logical step.
Yeah.
It would be really fun, but I think you got to be off this engine before you can do it, or at least this
Yeah.
iteration of it. I think you have to like fully make the jump to current gen hardware.
Yeah.
As we approach the end of Season of Defiance, players should ensure they have collected any earned but unclaimed rewards from their previous season page for Season of the Seraph. Previous season pass rewards can only be claimed up to one season after a season concludes. Once we transition into Season of the Deep, previous season pass page will be updated for Season of Defiance rewards, unless you have the Chrome extension. Players should also ensure they have claimed any rewards from Tower and Helm vendors, since those rewards will reset when Season 21 launches. That's interesting. I did not think they were going to reset the Season of Defiance engrams.
Yeah. That seems.
So if you have like 200 of them, like I do, I would strongly recommend going and turning all of those in and getting all your free legendary shards.
Yikes.
Yeah, I'll be in the
Yeah.
helm. I'll be in the helm for a little while on Sunday afternoon doing that.
I'll be in the helm if you need me, guys.
Yeah, pretty much.
You
Um,
know.
Oof. And I think that's all we have.
What?
I'm
No,
so excited. I think that's all we have.
no. Come on, we spent less time on the blogs than we did on Zelda. Almost.
I mean, that's okay.
I mean that. Look,
We just
to
kind of
be
flew
fair.
through it. I can feel my voice kind of like wavering a little bit. So I
Yeah.
I may not have too much left in my voice. I think I may need to go back to the doctor. My medication is almost out, and my cough has not exactly gotten better. So
Yeah.
very frustrating. I paid $45 for antibiotics, and they have not helped. We do have
Shocker.
shocker. Yeah, I'm actually really annoyed with the clinic I went to. So my girlfriend is going to her doctor tomorrow, and hopefully she gets well. But I may have to go back for another $200 visit to the clinic. I hate not having health insurance. Um,
Yeah.
we have a couple of questions tonight. Literally, we had two questions. Joe writes in and asked us, since we know we won't have a seasonal progression upgrade system next season, how do you think we will upgrade and acquire new things? I genuinely have no idea. I have no idea. They just said that it was going to be different. I'm keeping an open mind. We'll see on Tuesday. I'd kind of hoped they would tell us today,
Yeah.
but we didn't get that. We didn't get a trailer. I expect there to be a trailer Monday morning. Monday morning or Tuesday, I guess Tuesday when downtime happens. I don't know. I thought for sure we were going to see a trailer before this season came out.
Yeah, I really thought we were too. I mean, we kind of we had that 7-second teaser.
That doesn't count.
Well, you wanted a trailer. There it
That doesn't
was.
count.
I know. I know. I'm just messing with you,
I
Josh.
would
You
rather
know?
have nothing than that. I'm going to be real.
Yeah. That was I didn't really understand the point of that, but
Nor did I. Nor did I. And then we have one more question
yeah.
from Knox. Uh,
Nah.
Guardians are well known to be war criminals. This is starting off great.
What?
Guardians are well known to be war criminals. What is the weapon or armor you believe most violates the most statutes of the Geneva Convention?
Hmm.
So I'm going to offer you a few. I mean, Thunderlord literally rains lightning down on people.
Yeah, that's true.
Jotun is a heavily modified kitchen appliance that burns and tortures people to death. It chases people.
Telesto.
Telesto just breaks everything. Telesto is sentient.
Yeah.
Telesto probably has to be the answer realistically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um,
It's really the only correct answer
Divinity,
now,
you can
actually.
trap people in a time bubble.
It's true. It's true. Time bubbles.
1,000 voices. 1,000 voices could be up there.
Yeah. 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 Huh. Yeah. Galahorn, maybe.
Nah, if we're gonna go with a rocket launcher, I think Eyes of Tomorrow is worse.
Yeah. But
It's a bunch of mini homing rockets that now burn you. And
yeah.
you
I
get
mean, that's
refunded ammunition for every 4 people you kill.
it's true.
Eyes of Tomorrow coming in with a very, very late victory because of today's blog. As far as armor, I don't know.
Well, it's not the helm of Saint 14.
It's not the helm of Saint 14.
Um,
Antaeus Wards may
Dude,
be a contender here.
Dude Marchers.
God.
The Lightning Trail.
I'm going with Thunderlord and Jotun as my picks here.
Yeah.
Telesto, I think, has to win by default, though.
Yeah. I mean, Telesto's my pick. It's always my pick.
Always.
Oh my gosh! Every time I put Dune Marchers and Telesto on, Mitch just makes fun of me the whole time.
I mean, you're going to be responsible for breaking the servers one day, so.
I know. Josh, I forgot to tell you.
Oh God, that was very excited. What'd you
I
forget
got
to
the
tell
cowboy hat.
me? You finally got the cowboy hat.
I finally got my cowboy hat.
Corey is the one person I know who is still running this dungeon, desperately trying to get his cowboy hat.
I mean, we aren't even running the whole dungeon. We're running to the first encounter and doing it, and if we didn't get it, we just restart it.
Oh my god.
Uh, it was fine.
Ridiculous.
You know what's funny though? You know what's funny? The night I got it, we had literally set it aside. Like we're like because I feel like we were the only two people in the entire planet that don't have the cowboy hat from this dungeon. We literally set aside. We're like, this is the night we're gonna grind for the cowboy hat. I don't care how dumb we look or sound. We're gonna get it. And we set aside like 3 or 4 hours to go do this.
Oh my
Right?
god.
We did it on the first the first run, and we were like, well, now what do we do? Because
I
it's like,
so, so I have fallen out of love with the cowboy hats. I'm going to be honest with you.
I mean, I just wanted it to have it, you
Yeah,
know.
that's kind of where I got to with it because I didn't get it like my first 6 runs, and then I finally
Mhm.
got it. I think I've worn it once since getting it, and that's
Yeah,
mainly because I don't like that it's attached to the hunter cloak.
yeah, yeah.
I
You
I
were telling me this
really
last
hate
week.
I really hate that because I don't like the
That's
cloak.
dumb.
I don't like the cloak. I don't like that it's attached to that. The upside is I can wear it with any helmet, but the cloak is
Yeah,
really dumb, so I feel like my fashion game is going to be bad.
yeah. I can't believe it's attached to your cloak.
I
I guess
can.
because your hood's up. I
Yep,
guess.
that's exactly what it is. This would have been a great opportunity for a hoodless cloak, though, guys.
Yeah, like a cape.
Y'all keep
You
asking
know.
for these, and we keep saying no.
Yeah, I'm just you should probably do the thing. You know.
Oh my
All I'm saying.
god.
That's all I'm saying, Josh.
Do
You
we
know.
have anything else, Corey? Is there anything else going on in Destiny Land?
I mean, not really. I mean, we're just kind of gonna go do the seasons and the changes and the Guardian games is almost over, and I'm just
Guardian games. This is the least engaged I've been with one of these little seasonal events in a hot minute.
yeah, it's really Zelda's
Well,
fault though.
I mean, I didn't really participate much in Solstice last year either, to be completely honest.
Yeah,
I did enough to get the title, which means that this year, since I already have the title, I probably won't care.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
that's fair though, right? I mean, that seems fair.
yeah,
Fair enough.
I don't know. Maybe by the time Solstice rolls around at the beginning of August, I'll be out of my little funk.
Yeah,
I am looking forward to playing some more Destiny. I just this was a really rough season in my personal life, so Destiny has usually been my escape, but I just like kind of pulled back from everything and got a nice long break in. But I'm jonesing to be playing some Destiny, so I'll be around when I'm not busy cooking up a storm in Hyrule
yeah. It's
or saving Sanctuary.
I'm yeah, I'm actually like I'm quite ready to go play after we're done recording. Um, just because I'm ready to progress in this game because I have been dicking around for so long.
Yeah, I'm ready to progress in the game a bit more myself. Go do some more shrines, but I'm very jazzed that we're going back to Titan. That's really exciting for me, Destiny wise. This is kind of what we hoped that seasonal content could be eventually was going to destinations. Even if
Hmm.
that means the destination likely gets vaulted again after Final Shape comes out, so be it. They're going to achieve their thing of, hey, when you go back, we want it to be a brand new experience.
Hmm.
So really looking forward to see what that looks like. Still holding out hope that Savatoon's song comes back as a strike, even though I'm pretty sure it won't. So I can still hold out hopes, and we'll see. Yeah, we'll see where this goes. We've got that. We've got the new strand aspects. We've got the quest that's going to hit Niamuna on Tuesday as well. It's supposed to start giving us more information about the Veil. Very excited. We could have a very deep lore corner next week, or it could be a big nothing burger. Lore corner will come back next week. I promise. We are
Yeah.
bringing it back. I'm gonna finally, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna map out some lore corners for us for the summer. Um, this season there was a bunch of lore and there also wasn't. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the lore we did talk about was kind of dense, but there wasn't a lot to like go through. You know what I mean?
it's one of those I need to sit down and go through it more in depth. Maybe we'll circle back around to some of it, especially the Nezarec lore. Maybe we'll circle back to eventually. We'll see how that goes. So, Corey, why don't you
Yep.
get us on out of here? Let's do it.
Yeah, I think it's Zelda time. So I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening to this episode of Tower Casuals. You can follow us on the socials at Tower Casuals. Join the Discord if you want real, meaningful social media conversations. That's where we'll be. Uh, Josh, thank you for your time tonight, as always. Thanks for the Zelda chat at the beginning.
God, I love Zelda
Uh,
so much.
I know, I do too. Where can we find you?
Uh, I mean, you can still find me on Twitter at Josh_Finn. I'm probably very upset still about the Spurs getting a third all-time center in a row.
Yeah, well,
Fucking ludicrous that they've only been in the lottery 7 times and have gotten 3 first-round picks out of that. They've never been bumped down once.
that's so funny,
I was
man.
very upset when I found out that the Mavs were one number away from jumping into the top four.
Yeah, wasn't there only like a 0.3% you almost got it?
There was a 3% chance that we could jump up. There was a 3% chance for the number one pick. There was a 12% chance we would jump to the top four. We were one
Yeah,
number off from jumping to the top four,
yeah.
which, depending on which number it was, may have hurt more, but would have been a way to get an all-time asset or trade it for someone really good. But no, we can't have nice things here in Dallas. We at least
Nope.
kept our pick and did not give it to the New York Knicks. So
For now.
no, next year they get it. They get it next year because as our GM came out and said, this is the first and last time I plan on being on this stage. We have a top 5 player in the world in Luca. We don't plan on being back here. On the other hand, Wemby has already told teams that he's already told San Antonio he plans to win a championship ASAP. So good luck with that one. I know they have a bunch of draft picks, but good luck. Have fun. I will not be rooting for your future success. You're in my fucking division, and I really wanted him to go to Detroit or Charlotte.
Well, you know. Sorry, man.
This is a catastrophe. It's a catastrophe. Have you seen who's in the West? This is a catastrophe.
It's true. It's true. Uh, it's all right. There's everybody's talking about trading Donovan Mitchell now in Cleveland. So
Unbelievable.
you know,
Unbelievable. We have a lightly used Davis Bertans and Tim Hardaway Jr. that we'll give you for him.
Cleveland, man. Cleveland fans are dumb. You can find me at I am Corey and HC on Twitter and Instagram. You can I don't know. You can find me anywhere else on the internet. I don't know. Thanks for watching, listening, whatever. Until next week, we love you. Goodbye.